Thank you very much. The chair now recognizes Dr. Green.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Grabowski, I'm going to be submitting a question in writing to you, but Mr. Chairman, I'm yielding my time to the gentlelady from New York, Ms. Stefanik.
Thank you, Dr. Green. Mr. Arbeeny, thank you so much for being here today as an advocate on behalf of so many New York families, the 100,000 New York COVID orphans, essentially, for the over 10,000 lost loved ones in nursing homes. I want to start off on March 25th, when Governor Cuomo issued that fatal directive forcing nursing homes to accept COVID-positive patients. Did you consider that a death sentence for the most vulnerable in New York's nursing homes?
We absolutely did, and not just myself, not just my siblings, everybody we spoke to, whether they were in nursing homes, whether they were in hospitals, we all did, and we were all dumbfounded because we all knew the USS Comfort was sailing in. I went with my son and my wife to see it sail in. Unfortunately, 5 days later, New York City had 3,000 plus beds that were never used.
That's correct.
The Javits Center and the USS Comfort, and the reason they weren't used was our state layered on top of the federal admission policies, their own admission policies, which I have access to, and so it was never used.
It was a disaster, and I've spoken with constituents in my district in New York 21 who lost their loved ones in nursing homes in the North Country and upstate New York. But I want to point out, everyone knew Governor Cuomo and Lieutenant Governor Hochul's directive was not accordance to CMS guidance. Look at this. Secretary of HHS, there is no CDC guideline saying you should be taking positive COVID patients and putting them back in the community in nursing homes. Former CMS Administrator Seema Verma, under no circumstances should a hospital discharge a patient to a nursing home that is not prepared to take care of those patient needs. And then when asked directly, would New York State's guidance have violated CMS guidance, the answer was yes. This was a death sentence. And isn't it true that only 4 days after issuing that directive, during Andrew Cuomo's press conference, he himself said that, quote, coronavirus and a nursing home is a toxic mix and can be like, quote, fire through dry grass. Isn't it true that he said that?
He said that multiple times, and I can actually get out the dates he said that. It was horrific. Anybody that was living through that. Yes.
So Governor Cuomo knew, and they worked overtime to cover this up. As families came forward, they certainly came and tried to reach the governor, tried to share their views, as well as the nursing home workers. What was the governor focused on? He was focused on winning his Emmy, which has since been taken away from him, and he was focused on cooking the books, withholding the numbers, so he could get his $5.2 million book contract, which was unethical. I will always fight for transparency and answers. My question is, since Governor Cuomo has been forced to resign, Kathy Hochul, who was the sitting lieutenant governor, she promised to fight for transparency. She lied when she said that. Can you talk about your family's experience working with other advocates, your reaching out to Kathy Hochul, and what she has failed to do?
My brother printed this out. This is my father's death certificate, and we've shown this to our Attorney General, our Comptroller, and we gave a copy to our current governor. And she said she was mortified that she couldn't, and nobody could tell us if my father's death counted, and that she wanted to get a true death count, that we shouldn't 50 years from now be trying to figure out what happened. Unfortunately, nothing has happened, and as best we've been told through somebody else, that they won't be looking back, they only want to look forward.
She lied, and she continues to delay any investigation. She has refused to respond to congressional outreach from myself, Ranking Member Scalise, Ranking Member Jamie Comer. Isn't it true that the state Senate, which is held by Democrats, they've refused to do a fulsome investigation into this?
I'll make it work.
Yes, they have not done an investigation with subpoena power, and they've whitewashed it. And we know this very clearly because the Attorney General in January of 2021 and our state comptroller came out with, sorry, 2022, and our state comptroller came out with their findings, and I could read to you those findings. I have the quotes, but at the very highest levels in our state government, we were lied to for their narrative.
Help is on the way. The subpoenas are coming. House Republicans are committed to standing up and demanding answers and justice for those families that our colleagues across the state, across the aisle, in New York State and here have failed to do. The subpoenas are coming. Help is on the way. I yield back.
Gentlelady for yielding back. The chair now recognizes Mr. Raskin for 5 minutes.